Guys, welcome back to the Too Deep Coverage Podcast. I just realized I don't have an intro written out for today. So we're going to go over some good games and some bad games for sure. And we're going to look at some things that were kind of mediocre or really not that good as we close out week 9 of the NFL season here, folks. We're halfway through officially now. Today is Thursday. This Thursday is the first game of the second half of the season. So, pretty exciting. We're going to recap some storylines that are starting to build and starting to fade away as the season goes on. I'm happy to be back after last week. I know I'm a day late at least on this video, if not 2, but I'm starting to get things set up a little bit better. I'm going to have a backdrop soon. I'm going to be recording in other areas as well. That way things are not so dependent on my computer. So, let's get into it, folks. But first, I have to talk to you about my friends and partners over at W Energy. Since 2021, they've been making the safest, cleanest, best-tasting, crash-free energy drink on the market. This American-made, clean formula energy drink is made to give you a long boost of energy and concentration with no crash or slump afterwards. All flavors are unique and made by W, so you'll never find our taste anywhere else. With multiple limited-time and hydrating flavors, you'll always find your next favorite with us. With all drinks having no sugar, no fillers or artificial colors and dyes, no secret or hidden ingredients, and of course being gluten-free, W is the best drink to hit the market in years. With every drink averaging out to be just $1 each, your pocket and body will thank you for making the switch to W Energy. Whether you want to switch it up daily or stay committed with your favorite flavor, W has all the products you need from packs, tubs, and even cans. Be sure to use the link in the description to get your starter sampler pack or whatever amazing product you choose with an extra 10% off using my code TWIZZLER. It's like the candy, but with a 2 Whizzler. Add some energy and focus back into your life today with W Energy. All right, guys, before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to start off with the Colts and the Steelers, okay? We're going to start with this game because the Colts were the number 1 team in the NFL leading up to this game. They only had 1 loss. They were the only 1-loss team left. And I think a lot of people had, I don't want to say expectations for this game, but I think this game had a lot of let's just say it had a lot riding on it, kind of the reputation of the Colts and how they've been playing this year. Also the Steelers to see if they're a real contender, to see if they can beat a team that's been beating everybody else. I think for the Colts, this game was worrying. I think this game kind of shows you what could happen if Daniel Jones did have a Daniel Jones of old performance. I don't think that he's a bad quarterback. I think even in New York, you could see that he knew what he was doing. He just couldn't do it well. And I think now in Indianapolis, I don't know if it's a change of scenery, a change of coaching, change of personnel on the field, maybe some new confidence. Maybe he got some good coaching up in Minnesota for the few months he was there. But he's definitely a different player this year. Kind of the same way Sam Darnold was a different player last year. Well, he's that same player this year, okay? So is he that? Is he a different player now, or is this now his new normal? So that's what we're hoping to see out of Daniel Jones through the 2025 season. But like I said, you saw what he had to offer. 6 turnovers for the team. It looks like he had 4 or 5 of his own. Interceptions and fumbles in the pocket. You don't want to have that in the back of your mind like, okay, this is what my quarterback can do. But I think you have to be realistic and understand, like, okay, JT has to get the ball more. Or if we're dropping back and we're getting blitzed, we have to throw it away. We can't try and find a route that's open because we're going to fumble. We don't necessarily want to play scared because I think the Colts just now are starting to get aggressive. They just got Sauce Gardner. We'll talk about that in just a second. They have a good defense already, and they're attacking the other teams, and I just don't know how well they're attacking their own offense here with Daniel Jones as the primary, the ball slinger. Pardon this video interruption. We have some breaking news. Come and join the new Twizzler Discord. a place to hang out with friends, make new ones, and find a like-minded community. Find new people to game, chat, or even debate with. We have everything you want and need from Minecraft, Call of Duty, Fortnite, GTA, and our special areas to watch and talk sports. Be sure to join today and stay up to date with the community and all the content we have. Follow the Linktree link in the description, and we'll see you soon. Back to the video. I think we all are worried about what's going to happen. I think the Colts as a team are legitimate, but I think since the quarterback has such a strong impact on the team, this does feel like a Sam Darnold season of last year where we're kind of just waiting for it to happen. And everybody knows what that is, and this game was a bit of that. Only because they were able to come back in the second half of the game and kind of show that they were able to play a little bit better. You take away 6 turnovers, and let's say you only get 3 points on all of those, that's 18 points. So they could have won this game easily, 38-27 if they just didn't give the ball or less. They had a I think it was a block punt for a touchdown the Steelers did, or a fumble recovery for a touchdown. So a defensive touchdown as well. So this game could have gotten out of hand. This could have been 40-20 the other way for the Colts, and I think you don't want to start worrying. I think this would be a great time to think back to last year and put yourself in Kevin O'Connell's shoes. He's never, Sam Darnold's never played well, never had a winning season as a starting quarterback. From what I know, from what I remember hearing, and just what I know, I'd have to look that up to be honest. But until last year, he never had a winning season as a starting quarterback. He never had as many yards, touchdowns, less interceptions. Just last year was completely out of the blue. And Kevin O'Connell stayed confident, put his foot down that, that was their guy for the year, and rolled with it. And it looks like that's what Shane Steichen is doing over in Indianapolis. So let's move on to that Sauce Gardner trade. They gave away 2 1s. We're not going to get into trade value. I think if you give the Jets 2 1s, you're basically giving them maybe a 3rd, 4th, and 5th because they're going to trade them away in 2 years anyway because they're not going to be able to draft well. I think the only reason Sauce Gardner got what he got is because of his accolades. Rookie of the year, All-Pro in his first 2 years. I just think that the Jets were able to bargain more off of what Sauce has done versus what he's been doing. But I think that's why they were still willing to trade him, is because of what he's been doing versus what he did in the past. So it was kind of like a catch-22. The guy's not playing well, so yeah, we'll trade him. But he was a generational player coming into the league and won Rookie of the Year and has been an All-Pro half of his playing seasons already. So he's a great player, has amazing potential. So you have to pay up. So that is tough for Indy, but the reason they were able to give up their 2 first-round picks over the next 2 years is because they're confident that Daniel Jones is going to be their guy. They're keeping that KOC mentality of last year of we're riding out with Sam, whatever happens, this is our guy. Well, right now they're seeing that Daniel Jones played well through camp. All these practices, he plays well, he keeps getting better. These games, he's clutching, he's mobile in the pocket, he's been a strong passer up until this game where he kind of, he fumbled a little, fumbled literally and figuratively a bit. So they don't have to worry about going to try and get, a new quarterback, or they don't have to worry about trying to get some crazy edge rusher. They have a good solid run D. They just got a fantastic corner with years in the league experience already. He's run routes against these guys a lot already. So it's not like he's going to be coming in as a rookie, maybe lacking speed or understanding or the amount of work that the NFL takes compared to college. So I think this is a better pickup than even using your first-round pick on the top corner in the country. Because I feel like there is a chance that when you go up against, 5, 6, 7 year wide receiver vets in this league who have fantastic quarterbacks throwing to them. I mean, you even saw DeMar Bland, I'm pretty sure it was Bland, got worked by MHJ this last week on Monday night on the goal line. I mean, got worked. I mean, he literally was on his ass like he got ankle broke on the NBA floor. Like, it was insane. So imagine you're going against Jamar Chase. You're going against T. Higgins. You're going against Amon-Ra. You're going against JSN. You're going against MHJ. You're going against these guys that are so good as a rookie. There's a chance that you get burned a lot. And that's what's kind of been happening to Sauce lately. He's kind of been getting that rookie burn where, you know, he really tries his best, and, you know, they kind of exposed him. The Cowboys did when they played him a few weeks ago. But I think it's good. You know, they have a top 10 run defense, and they have a bottom 10 pass defense. So they need somebody who's solid, who's solidified, who plays AFC opponents consistently. And that's another thing, too. I don't think I've heard a single person talk about this. This is a player from the Jets. Okay? Who are the Jets in division with? Well, let's just name them and who their receivers are. Miami, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Buffalo, I don't really know who their receivers are this year, but let's just say in the past, you know, I'm pretty sure that well, I mean, last year they had Amari Cooper, and they have Keon Coleman, they have Dalton Kincaid. I mean, they have some good receivers on the Bills. And then who's the last team? The Patriots, who are 7-2, and they have Diggs this year. So it's like this guy, Sauce Gardner, played all these receivers twice a year. And the Colts are hoping to go into a playoff run and play against the Bills or the Patriots. And they're hoping to play Kansas City or Baltimore. So they're getting a guy from an AFC division who plays elite wide receiver talent or elite quarterbacks yearly. Twice yearly. I think it's a great pickup. I think people are saying, oh, it was too expensive. Oh, he's not that good. Yeah, he has not been playing good. I agree. But when you have Cooper DeJean, white boy, come in last year for the Eagles and play as well as he did, I think it'd be pretty hard-pressed to say that anybody is playing that good. I mean, who are the all-pro corners? I mean, Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain. There's very few people playing as good as that guy at any position. So I think it's important to realize, like, okay, yeah, he was Rookie of the Year. Yeah, he was an all-pro his first 2 years, but there's also a component that there's only so many cornerback all-pro spots to give up. So if Homeboy's third best corner in the league and there's 2 all-pro spots to give, who's getting it? Pat Surtain and who else? You have 1 spot left and there's 50 starting corners on every team in the league, if not more. If, you know, with nickel, there's 3 corners on every team starting. There's 90 starting corners in the league. Who's going to be an all-pro corner? There's only 2 or 3 of them. So that's my little rant. We got to go. It's already been 10 minutes, and I got 5 more teams to talk about, or 5 more games to talk about. But let's talk about the Colts a little bit more. Looking to beat the Chiefs to solidify their team as legit and hopefully eliminate them from contention. So that's exactly what's going to happen. The Chiefs are 5-4 going into their bye week after losing to the Bills, which I think most people expected. And they had a lot of line issues. We'll talk about that soon. If the Chiefs lose even, I want to say 2 more games, if they lose 2 games, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. There's a high chance that the AFC, what would it be, East, with the Bills, is going to get 2 teams with the Patriots, that the North is going to get 2 teams with the Patriots. Pittsburgh Steelers and Ravens. And then the Chargers are playing well. The Broncos are leading the division. And then you still have the AFC South, who has to get at least one team, which right now is the Colts. So there's a chance that the AFC West doesn't get 3 teams and the Chiefs are out. I think they're 8th or 9th in the playoff picture right now, but I think the situation is much more dire. If they get in a tiebreaker, even with a bad team like Jacksonville, they lose it because they lost to them in the regular season. They get in a tiebreaker with the Bills, they're out because the Bills are second in their own division, even though they're tied with Drake May. And Drake May has been doing much, much, much better than a lot of people expected. So who's to say that the Patriots don't sweep the Bills this year and also have the easiest schedule in the league remaining and keep winning out? So if the Colts beat the Chiefs, this is my prediction. I do have a bigger prediction that I could talk about, but this is my prediction. If the Colts beat the Chiefs are eliminated from playoff contention immediately because there's just too much. It's so tight that there's no room for error. There's no room for error. And the Chiefs have already lost to teams they shouldn't have multiple times this year. This is the worst year of Patrick Mahomes' career. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows he has a struggling line, an old tight end, lacking wide receiver core, and horrible running game. I mean, the Chiefs, if the Chiefs didn't go to the last 3 Super Bowls in a row, they would be irrelevant because they're not a good team. I know that sounds so crazy to say, but their defense, as good as they are only good as a unit. They don't have like any other top players other than Chris Jones and Karlaftis, okay? Their corners are pretty good. Their corners are not elite, though, by any means. So, you know what? Let's just move into this game right now then. The Chiefs versus the Bills. Mahomes had the worst game of his career, missing 3 of his linemen. The Eagles have exposed him. The Bills have now exposed him. Multiple teams are starting to realize that Patrick Mahomes is only as good as he is when he's comfortable. If he has to stay in the pocket under duress, he's horrible. Under 50% passing percentage in this last game, and he was throwing it. He was throwing the ball. It's not like he was 9 for 20. He was like, it was a pretty bad stat line. I'm not just going to make one up, but it was a pretty bad stat line. Worst game of his career behind a bad O-line. If any team in the league, any team during the playoffs can take advantage of his O-line and make him uncomfortable and not allow him to move out of the pocket, there is almost zero chance that the Chiefs win. The Chiefs have no running game to have any type of play action based on at all. I mean, they have probably the worst running back duo in the league. I mean, even Rico Dowdle is better than both of these guys on the Chiefs. I mean, if I was Andy Reid, I'd be trading for Rico Dowdle. Give me Rico Dowdle. Give me anybody other than Kareem Hunt, who we had to literally pick up off the street last year. Okay? It's just ridiculous. Okay? I'm sorry. This team is not good, in my opinion, this year. People are giving them the benefit of the doubt. The coaching, the quarterback play, the tight end chemistry, a new offensive line. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They just got Josh Simmons back. They could win 5 or 6 in a row. But if they lose 2 games in these next 8, they're done for. They're done for. They have to go 7-1 or 8-0 to finish the season with only 4 losses to have any chance. To have any chance at the 1 seed for sure, but to have any chance at even making to win the division next. And then if you don't win your division with the Broncos, who I'm sure they will lose at least 1 game to because they lost both 2 last year. Or they lost the last game and should have lost both last year. I am certain, if not 100% sure, that the Chiefs are going to be really, really hurting. And if the Chiefs go from making 3 straight Super Bowls to not making the playoffs, I think it'll be an immediate question of, is Patrick Mahomes declining? I can see that being the first headline. I feel like that headline's going to happen this year. If they lose and they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, how soon is it going to be to where they say, is Patrick Mahomes declining? Because Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame all-time head coach. Travis Kelce, all-time Hall of Fame tight end, who's probably going to retire after this year. They're not playing well enough. They have Chris Jones, who's a great all-time D lineman, Hall of Famer, most likely. I mean, he already has so many Super Bowls. Imagine what happens if he wins one or two more, even if another team picks him up later in his career. They have the guys. They have the foundational pieces to make it happen. But if they don't, if he cannot pull out that Tom Brady clutch gene and make the playoffs, are they going to say, is Patrick Mahomes declining? I think that's easy to see. On the flip side of that, Josh Allen in this game. Franchise record for completion percentage. There's kind of a theme here. Completion percentage, it matters. If you can't get the ball to your guys, you're not going to have a chance to move it down the field. Whether you have a running game or not. Okay? And on the other hand, if you do have a high percentage and you can get the ball down the field consistently to your receivers, you're also able to have a run game because you take everybody back off of the line to try and stop these passes that you will not stop hitting. So everybody says that, you don't have a run game so you can't set up the pass game. But I think having a strong pass game sets up your run game. If you don't have a strong pass game, they know that you're going to be running the ball. I mean, think of the Vikings all these years with Adrian Peterson. Literally the best running back the league has seen for years and years. And the Vikings were irrelevant because they knew the only thing they were going to do was give it to Peterson. Well, if they had a 3rd and 9 or a 3rd and 7 and he didn't get it, they were off of the field. Because Peterson is the only way they were getting anything done. Well, now, not having a run game, Mahomes is the only way they're getting it done. Well, homie had a 46% passing percentage. He is not getting the ball to people in a way to where they can either, 1, catch it, or 2, make it meaningful. I mean, what is the lowest passing percentage with a winning for a winning team's quarterback? It can't be much lower than like 40%. How are you going to win the game if you go and throw on 3rd down and you're only completing 1 out of every 4 passes? It just doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense, right? There's a big reason why the Chiefs are not playing well, and it's because of Patrick Mahomes this year. As crazy as that sounds, it's because of Patrick Mahomes. He's still playing at a top 5 level. Great. But he can't be top 5 and the Chiefs win. They have to be 1. It's like LeBron. Are the Cavs going to win it? Are the Lakers going to win? Are the Heat going to win a championship? Yeah, if LeBron is the best player on the planet for 7 straight games in a row, if he has to go 7. Or all 28 games of the playoffs. If he's the best player in the world for 28 straight games in the playoffs, LeBron James will win a championship. Well, if Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league for 21 games a year, he will win the Super Bowl. But if he's not the best quarterback on every Sunday that he plays, he's not winning. And I think that's why last year they were able to win these games and go 15-2 and have, a point differential of like nothing because they were scoring less than 30 points all year, is because he was the best quarterback every week last year. You could say, oh, Lamar's great and Josh is great and whatever, but they didn't win. And that's what's happening this year. Patrick Mahomes isn't winning these games for his team. Whether he has receivers back or not, whether they're suspended or not, whether they're hurt or not, whether Kelce is old or not, whether they are running backs can catch it out of the backfield or not, whether he's their leading rusher up through week 6 or not, he's not winning them these games. And I don't think they're making the playoffs this year. I don't. If they do, fantastic, good. They're getting bounced. I don't think they're that good this year. Their roster comp has declined so much over the years because much like the Patriots, they are about loyalty to the players they have and also The scheme they have. Okay? So Bill always had a defensive scheme, right? So he never got Brady receivers. So he always dealt with undersized guys, tight ends, and over the middle passes. The only time Tom Brady had a deep threat was Randy Moss, and they had the best. They were the most electric team in the league. It's unreal they never won a Super Bowl together, but it's like Patrick Mahomes can have over-the-top talent. He can have inside talent. He can have power backs. He can have all this shit. But the problem is, he's not making it happen this year. Tom Brady threw the ball to Edelman to where he could catch it every time. He threw it to Welker to where he could catch it every time. So much so to where Peyton Manning took Wes Welker and brought him to another championship in Denver. That's how reliable Tom Brady made Wes Welker. Are any of these guys off of the Chiefs going to another team and playing well? Are any of these guys going to another team and playing well? Kareem Hunt was on the couch. Travis Kelce can't catch a ball this year to save his life anyway. Would any other quarterback be able to throw this guy? Because he's never in a read. He's never a read. Travis Kelce's just out there. He's never a read. So I just can't. I can't rationalize it with myself this year to where I'm like, yeah, this Chiefs team is good and they'll do good and win. I can't do it this year. I almost couldn't do it last year, but they did it anyway. But this year they're not. And I just can't rationalize it. Let's move on to a game with another Super Bowl contender. Packers versus Panthers. I know this is a weird one to transition to after a Chiefs rant, but the Packers, much like the Chiefs, had a lot of expectations coming in this year. And it seems like more and more as time goes on, people are realizing that the expectations set were just a little too high for the people that they have. I could be called a Green Bay hater, and I would agree. I'm a Green Bay hater. I don't like them. I don't. I'm a Bears fan. I don't like Green Bay. We lose to them all the time. What I will say is that I'm a football fan. And if the Packers want to have a chance to win a Super Bowl, they have to play every game. Does that make sense? Like, you can't play Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in Pittsburgh and then go home and play Carolina and just like, all right. Oh, wait, we lost? I didn't even pay attention because I thought we were going to win. And they've done that twice this year. 3 times, realistically. This is the only team in the league that should be undefeated. This is the only team that's genuinely had a chance, played a worse enough schedule, and played well enough at the same time to have a chance to be 9-0. Okay? Their only losses are to Cleveland, worst team in the league. Consensus over the last 20 years, worst team in the league. And Carolina, the worst team in the league, consensus over the last 3 years. And they have a tie against the Cowboys, who have the worst defense in the league. They're not losing to good teams. They're not losing to average teams. Carolina is as average as you can get this year. And we can talk about them in a minute. You know, I'm tired of the Carolina slander this year because they are not the same team 3 years ago or 2 years ago. They're not a bad team this year. This year, they're an average team. They're a winning team. They're playing better. They have the same record as the Chiefs. Are the Chiefs a bad team because they're 5-4? They've been playing worse than the Panthers, in my opinion. The Panthers beat the Packers. I don't think the Chiefs could beat the Packers if they played today. The Packers have to play every team they play. They can't lose to bad teams. And you can't use all your juice on the good teams either. You have to have a good enough game plan and be able to play well enough to where you're able to play consistently through all 17 games of the year. And then once you play well enough through all 17 of those games, you have at least 3 or 4 more, hopefully, left in the year to play. You can't use all your juice because you'll be playing the Panthers and tear your ACL like Tucker Kraft did. You can't use all your juice against the Cowboys and then, and tie. Like, here's the thing. If the Packers want to be a legit contender, they have to win against against good teams easier and beat bad teams easier. You can't have 40-40 shootouts with the Cowboys. They're out of your league. That should have been 27-10, 27-17 like the Arizona game this week. There should be no reason the Packers are losing this way. The points I have. Jordan Love cannot play well when it's easy to. Steps up to competition and plays down to it. Sums up everything I just said. Jordan Love cannot play well when it's easy to. Steps up to competition and plays down to it. Plays well, plays great against the Lions. Demolishes the Bears. Let's go and kill the Steelers who just beat the Colts. Number 1 team in the NFL. Let's walk them. But we're going to lose to the Browns in Carolina, and we're going to tie the Cowboys. They're just an unserious team right now. Maybe that's because of their age. Maybe it's because of their roster composition, but they're an unserious team. I talked about this during the offseason in some of my other podcasts, but the Packers went 1-5 in division last year. Made the playoffs and lost. After going 11-6. They're 7-2 this year. They can go 13-4, 12-5, 11-6 again, and there is no doubt in my mind that they will be an early playoff exit. Micah Parsons didn't have a single pressure against Bryce Young. Not even a pressure. They just paid him the most money ever, and he can't get a pressure against Bryce Young. They have like 8 wide receivers. They took one in the first round last year, and they couldn't score more than 13 points. You could throw it all over the field. Take linemen out and put wide receivers on the field. You could throw it anywhere. Anywhere. They don't have enough coverage guys to cover all the wide receivers you have. And you can't score more than 13 points? This is an unserious team. I'm getting riled up because my cheeks getting red. Even more red than they already are. It's just an unserious team. Carolina winning games with bad QB play. Now a better record than the Cowboys and the same as the Chiefs. Carolina has won consistently with Bryce Young playing poorly. That's why this is not a bad team. Let's flip Joe Flacco's stats and Bryce Young's stats from this weekend. What if Bryce Young had 467 yards and like 4 or 5 touchdowns? And they would have scored 100 points against the Packers. The dude had 186 yards. Let's just imagine for a second that Bryce Young averaged like 260, 2 touchdowns with a passer rating of like 95 and a completion percentage of like 64. The team would be so good. The team would be unreal. But Green Bay as a young team is very streaky, and it can hurt them in the playoffs as in the past. I said that earlier too. This team is so young that if you don't really take the next opponent serious, which is easy to do, especially I played a lot of high school sports, and I do a lot of like personal competitive things. My sport is bowling, okay? So it's not very very relatable. But what I will say is, in bowling, you bowl multiple games in one day. Whether it's a league or a tournament, sometimes you bowl multiple days in tournaments. So it's not like it's easy to do well in one game, much like the Packers played well against the Lions in week 1. It's really good to bowl like a 259 or a 279 and you have almost no errors. It's easy to kind of take the foot off the gas. Like in week 2 when they played the Browns. It's easy to take the foot off the gas and maybe slow down. And then you start getting splits instead of strikes. Or you're a little too relaxed and you miss a spare into the gutter. Kind of the same way that the Green Bay special teams let a blocked field goal get returned for a touchdown against the Browns to lose the game. It's easy especially when you're young and you are so autonomous. It's not like these 30-year-old guys who have to go through rehab every single day they're not playing, go in the weight room, perfect diet, just to be able to stay on the field. These guys are eating junk food, they're up late, they don't do much cardio, maybe they don't lift as much as everybody else, and they still have elite speed, great hands, they're never tired, amazing energy and endurance. It's easy to take the foot off the gas when you don't have to try very hard for your talent. And Green Bay has a lot of talent, especially with Jordan Love. But if you take the foot off the gas, you're going to end up like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, playing for the same team for 15, 20 years and having one Super Bowl victory. I'm sorry, but Tom Brady played for the Patriots forever, and he won ring after ring after ring after playoff game after playoff game after AFC Championship after AFC Championship, and people hated him because of how good he was. Nobody hates Aaron Rodgers because of how good he is. They only hate him because he beat their team and then went and lost anyway. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Bengals for a second because we brought up Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco had a career passing day, 460 yards with the Bengals. He joined their team 4 weeks ago, and he's 40 years old. He had like a 57 passer rating. Not percentage. I know we were talking about completion percentage a lot in this podcast, but we're talking about passer rating, so that's everything. And more. More than I even know how that's all calculated. And now he's in Cincinnati, and he beat the Steelers, and he's throwing for 450 yards, and he's kind of just playing out of his goddamn mind as an old man in the NFL. It kind of makes you think like, man, Joe Flacco can kind of just turn up and throw it. How good is he? Is he still an elite quarterback? Because people say Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. And Joe Burrow's not throwing for 460. And Joe Burrow's on the sideline right now. So is Joe Flacco an elite QB? Because Joe Burrow's an elite QB. Or is Joe Flacco throwing to good receivers in a fairly good offensive system? Is Joe Burrow throwing to great receivers in a good offensive system? Went a little higher register there. Little Rich Eisen segment here on a Thursday. But is Joe Burrow really as good as we're thinking he is? I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but could anybody come out of this team and be as good? I mean, I know they're not winning, but last year they were 9-8 too. They didn't win very many games last year, and they missed the playoffs with Joe Burrow starting all year. With Joe Burrow's injury history, I think he's missed like 3 seasons now. At least 3 half seasons. to where he's been out and caused them to miss the playoffs. Because it's pretty obvious that this team's defense is not going to get any better. They kept their best player and got worse as the season went on. They got rid of their defensive coordinator and again got worse. So the offense has to do it all. The quarterback has to do it all. Can that be anybody? Because Joe Flacco just came from a team with a 58 passer rating and is now throwing 460 in yards against a pretty, I would say, I mean, I know I'm a Bears fan, but I would say a middle of the pack defense with hurt players on it. I think it's pretty. I think you can be pretty honest and say that Joe Burrow is not the reason they're winning games. He's not the reason they lose games, right? That's their defense's fault, and they showed us that this week with Joe Flacco performing super well. But it makes me realize that Joe Burrow is not the reason they're winning these games. Did he get to the Super Bowl early on because they didn't have tape? Did he get to the Super Bowl early on because their defense was better? Because he didn't even make the playoffs last year. Lost to horrible teams throughout the entire year. As well as he played, had an MVP candidacy. I mean, does that really matter? Because an MVP is not going to win the MVP unless that MVP is in the playoffs and is on a good enough team. The MVP is not going to win unless they do something extraordinary, like Adrian Peterson running out of his mind. We already talked about him once today. I think there's time to question Joe Burrow now. I think it's easy to say that, hey, Joe Burrow needs to get out of that top 5 combo now. I think he does. I think there's a top 3 conversation that's solidified. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. They're not only great athletically, they're not only great position-wise, they're not only great, under great organizations and great teams, but they do great things for their team. Joe Burrow being out and being injured, being injured is one thing. You get hurt and you're injured. And you have an injury, and maybe that injury continues to get aggravated or gets hurt again, or there's a botched surgery or something. But the fact that it's every year it's a new injury, every year it's a new season-ending, surgery needed, out for months injury. So it's like, is this guy already broken and they're just trying to put him back together? Like, is Joe Burrow going to be the guy to really take them to the promised land? I know he got them to a Super Bowl, but I think it's pretty obvious why they lost. The coaching is horrible, the defense is horrible, and the offensive impact can only do so much no matter who the quarterback is. So, let me ask the question again how I started off this segment. Is Joe Flacco elite? Is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback in 2025, a top 4 quarterback, the same way Joe Burrow is? Or is Joe Burrow playing well with the receivers he was gifted on this team that he was drafted by? You answer that for me. I know my answer. Mine is right in the middle. He's elite because of his talent, because of the people he has in this area to throw to, and the offensive system he has under Zach Taylor, whatever it is good enough for him to win games and play at a great level. But in here is a lot of opening because he's not mobile. He's injury prone. He's also on an organization with a bad defense. So he has to score a lot of points. What would happen if they had a strong run game? What would happen if they had a defense that could hold people to points? Would they be winning like 52-0 or like putting on a Tom Brady, Randy Moss performance with Jamar and T. Higgins? Because even if they are, they're only going 9-8. Like last year, everybody was healthy. and they went 9-8. I can't buy it anymore. It's like look, everybody talks about stocks, right? They compare stocks to football now. At least a lot of people I watch. If I had 100 shares of each, I'd hold on to like 40 shares. Maybe 30. But I'm selling a lot. I'm getting out on the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I'm getting out on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, at least the Chiefs for this year. Because there is a chance that, yeah, they do get a better defense next year. And the Bengals are now a great team. And Joe Burrow's playing at an MVP level. And maybe that 30% will get me back what I just sold. But there's a high chance that 30% is going to be worthless and Joe Burrow never sees a Super Bowl again. Much like Dan Marino. There's a high chance that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs don't make it to the playoffs this year. And they lose their legacy tight end. And they don't get a running game. And maybe they struggle to win playoff games in the future now. In this second stint of Mahomes' career. And then that 30% is worthless compared to where they were. But have I lost all doubt in their ability to be great players? No. But I've lost their team's ability to win games when it's as important as it is. Much like the Packers. I don't have faith in the Packers at all. Not because I don't like them, but because they've proven over the years they don't have what it takes to win big games that matter. Or win games that don't matter. They can't even win games that don't matter, like Carolina and the Browns and a horrible 3-5-1 now Cowboys. So, I don't know, man. I just have a lot of opinions about these people that I feel like are not really ever questioned anymore. You know, people get put on the Mount Rushmore, or they're put in a top 5 list, or something like that, and now it's like, okay, well, what could their team do better to support them? It's like, well, okay, but every player changes every year and every game, and every time they get hit, and every time they run a route, their body changes, they change, they learn more as they grow. Things start mattering differently to them. You don't think that a player can start playing worse? Or playing better? I mean, look what happened to Baker. He started playing way better. Sam Darnold, way better. They've been in the league 6-7 years now, too. They were high draft picks, too. A lot's changed for them, too. Their teams have changed. They went from bad teams to good teams, and look how they've been elevated. Well, let's say you're the Chiefs, or you're the Ravens, or you're the Bills, and you had good teams, and now your team got worse. The Bills are still playing well, but they're losing games they shouldn't to a building Patriots and an Atlanta team that can't figure out who they're playing against or who they're even playing out on the field. They can't even decide who to give the ball to. And they have the best running back, arguably second behind Jonathan Taylor. They have a great receiver in Drake London. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't think Mahomes is playing that well. I don't think Burrow is that good of a player because he's always hurt. So if you're in the league 5 years and you've played, 17 games in a season, and let's say you've played 40 games instead of 90, like, are your stats really like that impressive? You've played half of your NFL starts. Like, are your stats really that impressive? You're not even on the field. So it's like, yeah, it's good when he can play, but if he's out every year at some point, or the whole year every other year, what's the point of having this guy? It's almost like a lotto ticket, man. It's like, how can I describe this? It's like a lotto. You have the Powerball, and that's six numbers. They have these little lotto tickets that are like pick 3. Well, there's only so many numbers you can pick. 1 through 10 or 1 through 25 or whatever for 3 balls. So your statistical likelihood to win is much higher. Like, you can put your numbers, you can play your numbers, whether it's your birthday, your friend's birthday, your dog's birthday, whatever your numbers are. Everybody has their numbers. You can play those numbers infinitely, and you have a better chance to win because there's less numbers to have. It's kind of like that with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Yeah, I mean, there's a high chance that you're going to win. There's a good chance that he's going to play really well. And there's even a small chance that you're going to win big. But there's going to be a lot of fucking times those numbers miss. There's going to be a lot of times where there's not even one of your numbers on the screen. There's going to be a lot of times where your number isn't even close. There's going to be times where your play is irrelevant. And there's going to be a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted money trying to hit it big in the lottery. That's how I feel about Joe Burrow. It's like every year, is this guy going to stay healthy? Is this guy going to lead us to the promised land? Oh, this guy can't even beat the Patriots week 1 last year. You know, I don't know. As good as a football player he is, you have to play the game to have an impact on it. You know, it's like we're talking about the Bengals already next year because they have no defense. They have no run game. As talented as their receivers are, there's nothing you can do if your defense is going to lose you games. Didn't even talk about the Bears, and they're my favorite team in this recap video. So take that. Bears win. Bear down. Williams played better. 4 touchdowns. Let's go. He even caught one. Let's go to this last game. You know what? No, we're not. We're not. We talked about everybody today. We've talked about teams we shouldn't have. We've talked about teams we didn't need to. We've compared a lot. You know, this was a good episode. This was a good episode of the podcast. Good recap of the week. Talked about a lot of things, man. But let's just go. Let's see. So Colts lose against the Steelers. Colts are no longer the number 1 team. Dolphins lose against the Ravens in primetime on Thursday. The Dolphins fired their GM. Okay, go over some quick news there. The Bills win in the regular season again. Allen's now 5-1 against him all time in the regular season. How much does that matter this year? Okay, well, I think it matters because I don't think Mahomes is making the playoffs now because they lost that game. Titans and Chargers I have listed here. Titans had a lead. Chargers won. Joe Alt out for the year. That team is looking dire. They might not make the playoffs. So I think that's the only way the Chiefs make it is if the Chargers don't. Bears and Bengals. Bears win. Bear down last second by their tight end Colson Loveland. 7th round running back also Kyle Monangai just ran all over their defense. So I mean a running defense, pass defense. The Bengals have nothing to offer. Nothing to offer on defense. And Packers lose again versus the Panthers, 16-13. What are you going to do? The Cowboys lose as well. Monday Night Football in prime time. I mean, everybody's just watching them get walloped this year. It's crazy. They either score 40 or they don't. You know, in their wins, I saw the stat on the broadcast. Points per game average in wins, 37.7. So you have to score at least 38 points to win as a Cowboys team. That is unsustainable. They did add a couple pieces to the defense. Quinnen Williams from the Jets. Also Logan Wilson from the Bengals. Trying to bolster that defense that has been horrible all year. Losing to Rico Dowdle and the Panthers really, really set them back. I think that's the game that opened Jerry's eyes to really like, goddamn, we're still bad. So that he did pick them up. And Arizona just put Kyler Murray on IR. So he's out for 4 weeks. You have Jacoby Brissett playing against an absolute grueler. They got Seattle. And then they have Tampa Bay as well. Let's see if I can just look this up here. They're playing Seattle next this week at Seattle. San Francisco, who's 6-3, I think, and then Jacksonville, who's 5-3. Then at Tampa versus the Rams, at Houston, who has like a top 5 defense, versus Atlanta, who at this point in the year, you know, week 16 can either be, 4-10, 4-11, or they can be 9-4. Yeah, or I should say like 6-6. Yeah, I mean they're just a middle of the back team. Then they go at Cincinnati. That should be a win. And then they play the Rams the last game of the year too. So, I mean, I maybe see the Cardinals realistically having a chance at 2 more wins with Atlanta and Cincinnati, but I see them losing 6 straight easily. Easily 6 straight with the schedule they have now. So I think that's why they're putting Kyler Murray on IR. There's no point in having him run out there and hurt himself if you want to keep him. If you don't think you're going to have a chance. Anyway, I mean, Seattle's great. San Francisco, strong defense. Jacksonville's fantastic the first 6 weeks of this year. Tampa Bay is still playing well. They're getting players back. The Rams are a Super Bowl contender yearly. Houston, top 5 defense. And the Rams, again, twice in division. I just don't see at all how in the world they're going to have a chance this year. So that's it, guys. About an hour long today. I won't have to cut as much out. I did get up to let the neighbor's dog out. To close my window because the neighbor's dog is out, barking its head off. It's ridiculous, that thing. I could have ran about that dog for hours. Hours. The other day, I'll just end this on a low personal. The other day, maybe 2 weeks ago, I worked night shifts, so 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is early in the morning, maybe 9:30. Dog's going crazy, barking, crazy. What am I going to do to get this dog to shut up? And I don't want to hurt the dog. I thought, maybe I'll buy like a BB gun or an airsoft gun or something. I don't want to hurt the dog. Like, that's animal abuse. I'm not trying to hurt the dog. That's never my goal. Whether it happens or not, that's really not my goal. I was like, okay, maybe I'll throw rocks at it. Well, that's not any better, little rocks out of the backyard. Like, I'm not trying to kill the dog. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get the hose. It's kind of chilly this morning. I'm going to go get the hose, and I'm going to try and spray down this dog. Dog standing right on the other side of the fence, barking its head off, just trying to provoke my dogs, get them to come over and play or whatever it's doing. So I got to go around the house and hook up the hose in the backyard, and I go and I'm lining up the hose to try and get this dog wet it down, get it pissed off, make it run away or whatever. Well, I was successful. It did run away to the other side of its house. The water did not reach far enough. The hose didn't have enough pressure, whatever. But it did not stop barking. So, sometimes you do whatever you can. You can get them wet. You can go crazy. You can go ballistic. And they still just won't stop hollering. Thanks for watching, guys. Longest podcast episode yet. Excited. I'm starting to feel much more educated about the NFL. I'm watching as much as I can. I'm watching a lot of videos and shows. I'm trying to get many stats and analysis. I wouldn't say memorize, but trying to pick up key points and keep those thought of during the year. That way we can have, a good conversation about what's going on in the league. I mean, the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar business. I mean, it's just great to talk about it, be a part of it, and I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.